I'm committing to 2 hours of meditation, 2 hours of reading, and 2 hours of working on my business daily as my New Year's intentions. I want to invite you to join me in setting intentions for 2026, or whenever you're watching this video, whatever month of the year it is, to set an intention for the next month or for the rest of the year. And I'm going to explain to you and guide you through how to set these intentions and how to stay on track with the intentions you set and not kind of backslide after a couple weeks or a couple months. What happens often in the new year is that people will set intentions. They'll have their list of New Year's resolutions, and then they'll fall off after a couple weeks or maybe a couple months at the most. And the reason this is because of a mechanism called homeostasis, in that any organism or system, including your psyche, will tend to revert to what it's used to, what it's has proven to itself is a strategy to survive. It's based out of survival. So you'll tend to revert to that mean over time. So it's important to first have a vision, a purpose, and a reason for why you're doing what you're doing, and a clear vision of where you want to go in the future, who you want to become, what you want to achieve. Having this vision will inform the intentions that you set and provide motivation to upgrade your frequency to that new version of yourself. Because there's going to be some friction, there's that homeostasis there. There's going to be some friction in going from point A to point B to the new version of you. So you need some sort of drive, which comes from your life purpose and your vision. So first, spend some time thinking about that. Now, when you continue to perform these habits day after day as a discipline or as a devotional practice, point B becomes your new homeostasis over time, over the course of several weeks and months, really. So I invite you to join me in what I call the 222 challenge. As I said, 2 hours of meditation, 2 hours of reading, 2 hours of working on my business. Now, I recognize not everybody has 6 free hours. A lot of you are busy with important obligations. And obviously you have different goals than I do. So what I advise you to do is, if you can find the time, if you have 3 hours a day, 5 days per week, try the 1-1-1 challenge. 3 things that are most important to you that you can spend 1 hour a day doing. Such as, for me, it was reading and meditation. It could be exercise. It could be yoga. It could be stretching. It could be going on a walk. It could be spending quality time with your partner. Whatever it is that's important to you and is going to get you to point B, to that new vision, commit to that 5 days per week and find time for it by cutting out distractions. Now, if you are even more busy or just feel like you're unable to commit to that at this point, do the 30-30-30 challenge. 30 minutes of 3 things that are most important to you 5 days per week. I believe that most of you can find that time, an hour and a half per day, by cutting out distractions. You can find time to spend 30 minutes on things that are important to you. And even just those 30 minutes, it might not seem like a lot. What's 30 minutes going to do? But 30 minutes of 3 things built up over time every day, that's going to build into something powerful, even if it's just 30 minutes a day. Because see if we can do some quick math. Over the course of 1 week, that's going to be 3 hours, 30 minutes. So over the course of the month, that's going to be around 15 hours. So, it's a lot of time built up. Um, so just see what happens when you commit to what's important to you and you move towards that every day. And by the way, the 222 or 111, those are the daily minimums. So it doesn't mean you stop after you hit 30 minutes or an hour. That's just the minimum you have to hit, and then you can keep going. And this is going to build discipline if you stick to this throughout the course of the month or the year or whenever you're watching this. And ultimately, that discipline is going to turn into devotion, to where no matter how you're feeling, whether you have the motivation or not, you've built up, you have that reason, you have that vision behind you and your purpose. And it's going to become easy to just do those activities over time, as you center yourself in that frequency. A lot of people in this society, in this culture at this time, value comfort over everything. They have their comfort foods, they have their substances they use for comfort. They have their TV shows and movies and video games, and we're all subject to this. And the internet and social media, we all fall into those traps, or we have at certain points in our lives. And it's very gripping, and it takes up a lot of your time. But it's very appealing because it stimulates the dopamine centers, and it's very comfortable to engage in those activities. However, really introspect and see what's important to you. And I encourage you to value growth over being comfortable. To achieve anything great in life, to change yourself, to actualize the vision of the man or woman that you want to become, is going to require a lot of discomfort. It's going to require stepping out of your comfort zone. It's going to require honesty and introspection in what aspects of yourself that you need to change, to improve, to get to that next version, to get to the most authentic life that you want to live. So even when things become uncomfortable, even when you don't want to do it, even when you're feeling a little tired, you want to skip a day, prove to yourself that you can do it, because that person that you want to become, they're not going to skip days, right? That ideal vision of you, they're not going to, because they feel a little tired or they don't have the most motivation, they're not just going to give up on the goal they set and the intention they made. So move towards that version of yourself by proving to yourself that you can stick to these intentions daily. Or for me, I'm committing to the 222 challenge 5 days a week. Because the flip side of the coin is you don't want to push yourself too hard to where you burn out and then totally backslide and regress to where you were because you try to do too much at once, or you push yourself too hard. Don't take that as an excuse to go easy. Definitely challenge yourself with these intentions, but don't do it to the ridiculous extent. There's been times, a lot of the times, at least for me, like where our ego thinks we can do everything at once, or we just want to handle everything at once. I remember in the past, 3-4 years ago, when I was struggling with more addictions than I am now, there were a couple times where I was like, all right, I'm going to cut out video games, and I'm going to cut out TV, and I'm going to cut out substance use, and I'm going to cut out drinking, and I'm going to cut out whatever, all these things all at the same time. The intention behind it was good. I wanted to clean up my life, but the way of going about it was immature and unrealistic. Because if you're dealing with 100 things at once, or let's say 5-10 things that you want to clean up about your life at once, it makes more sense to tackle things one at a time or two or three at a time. So that's why, if you don't already have resolutions and you just want one good one for whatever time in the year it is, just three things, that's another thing. People have 10, 15, 20 resolutions. Pick three things that you want to stick to. And that's why I'm sticking to this 222 challenge. And then every month throughout the year, you can kind of evaluate how you're doing and set intentions for that month as well. Like this month, I haven't been in the gym these last couple months, partially letting the tension in my body heal and just being focused on other things. So January, one of my intentions is to at least 3 days per week hit the gym, probably more, 3-4 days a week. And then I'm also going to experiment with a fruitarian diet where all I'm going to eat is fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Because, I don't know, I just got the intuition to do that and I want to try it. And I've heard of other people that have done it. And those are really my favorite things to eat anyways. And it feels like it'd be a simple way, especially as I'm already in my meditations, drawing upon life force energy to sustain my body more so. I don't need a lot of those more heavy foods anymore. So I'm going to see how that goes. And if you want me to make a video on that, let me know. I think that's about all I had to say. Just, set those intentions, build that vision, and move towards it. Let's cut out a lot of the unnecessary distractions, the undesirable habits. Let's really work towards actualizing our ideal vision of ourselves this year. If you're watching this video, if you've made it this far, I know you're a conscious person who has the capacity for introspection and for growth and for discipline. So act upon that and have that strong intention to stick to it even when it becomes difficult. So I wish you the best in this, and I'd appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one.